Hey guys, here we go. We are gonna go and oops, sorry guys, and tackle some word problems. I'm back on this. Still don't trust my iPad. Plus, I think it's better that we we utilize this considering we have word problems. So you guys will be approached with stuff like this to where they give you an idea that a company either builds a theater or like somebody throws a baseball or a rocket is launched. There'll be some sort of idea to where uh, it's a parabola when we kind of look at the actual algebra problem that we're dealing with. My brain locked up there. It's that first Monday back after break. So if we look at this, it says that a company plans to build a theater. Their financial analyst tells them that the profitability of their business is modeled by this function. Okay, so one of the things you guys can kind of start dealing with is when you see this, just pull that information out right there. So we're going to take that and we're going to say, okay, this is f of x. And that is what I'm dealing with, right? Oops, let me go back a little bit. That is what I'm dealing with right here. So if we look at that. That's just the equation we're dealing with. So you can get rid of all the other pieces of information that we need, and you can go, okay, well, wait a sec. I know that this is a parabola because it's got an x squared right there, or it's a quadratic. I also know it's pointed upside down. So I got a parabola that is pointed upside down. So if I look at this, and I still can't draw vertical lines. If I look at this, and this is not to scale, I've got some sort of parabola that looks like that. That's what we're looking for right there. So something I don't that this red parabola right here is that graph. So we don't know anything about it right now. They give us some information, but we don't know anything about it. So if we take this and we take their next piece of information where X is the number of movie screens. So X axis is equal to the number of movie screens. Screens. Okay, so X is equal to the number of movie screens. And then let's go ahead and change colors here again. And let's go to a yellow. And it says that F of X is profit in thousands of dollars. So we understand, remember that F of X is the same as the Y axis. So we know that f of x is right here. F of x is equal to thousands of dollars, right? Let's just put a dollar sign right there. So it's thousands of dollars. That's a horrible. Is equal to thousands of dollars of profit. Okay, so the y-axis here, every tick mark is worth $1,000, let's say. And then as we go across here, every tick mark is worth the number of movie screens. That's all they really have us going for right here. So then we're looking at this and they say determine the range of movies, the range of movie screens needed for profitability. Okay, so the number of movie screens for profitability. Profitability means that there is a positive y-axis. So we want everything between here and here. Because everything on the outside is losing money. Oops. Money. And this is losing money. So anything below the x-axis is losing money, and this is our profit. Well, that's going to be in between a certain number of movie screens, and that's what they're asking us here. Okay, so we need to find the certain number of movie screens that this graph actually gives us. Well, those are a very specific point on the graph. These are going to be the x-intercepts. So we need to solve for the x-intercepts. How do we solve for the x-intercepts? It's up to you. You can factor it. You can use the quadratic formula. You can do whatever you need to do. So I'll just go ahead because a lot of you will use the quadratic formula. I'm going to actually plug in the quadratic formula here and say, okay, negative b, which is going to be negative 48, plus or minus the square root of 48 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times negative, well, times c, which is negative 512, all over negative 2 times a, which is negative 1. So we've got to clean that whole thing up there, and that's a really big number, 48 squared. Let's go ahead and do the math real quick. You guys can stop the video if you want or fast forward real quick while I do the math because my calculator won't come up on my phone. Well, I'm just having lots of fun here. And we're going to do 48 times 48. So we're going to get negative 48 plus or minus the square root of 2,304 minus, because there's a subtraction sign, minus 4 times 512, which is 2,048, all over 2. So if I'm looking at this here, let's clean this up. We're going to subtract 2,304 minus 2,048 gives you 256. So I got negative 48 plus or minus 256 all over 2. But I can tell you that 256 is the square root of 16. The square root of 256 is 16. So we got negative 48 plus or minus 16 all over 2. Well, if we keep going with this, we're going to get this idea here. We're going to get the idea that we have, divide that by 2, it's 24. Divide 48 by 2 is 24. 16 by 2 is 8. So we get negative 24 plus or minus 8. So my x's are going to equal negative 24 minus 32. That comes out weird. It shouldn't be negative 32. What happened here? Something weird happened. Oh, there's a negative right here. I messed up. This is a negative right there. So that is a positive. I dropped the negative. Nope, that's correct. Yeah, that is not negative right there. There we go. That should be a negative. This should be a negative, and that should be a negative. So we get positive 24. And then there we go. Plus or minus 8. So then we get 32 for 24 plus 8. And 24 minus 8 is 16. So we get answers of 32 and 16. So I have an x of 32 and a x of 16. So that means I need between 16 and 32 movie screens for a profit. And again, what I'm trying to show you guys is you're still, even though it is a word problem, you're still only using the quadratic formula. So then if we go back to the original problem, I just did a So I found the x-intercepts. So anytime they ask for x-intercepts, just use a quadratic formula. And then determine the number of screens for a maximum profit. So maximum means the very top point. So I've got to find my vertex. So if I looking for my vertex, then I'm going to use a little different piece here. So I'm going to use, so your maximum profit is going to be your vertex. And remember, to find the x value of the vertex, you're going to do negative b over 2a. Well, negative b is negative 48 all over negative, 2 times negative 1, which is going to be 24. So my vertex, x value of my vertex, hint, hint, look at that, it's right there. Those are the same number, is 24. So I know my maximum profit occurs, max profit occurs at 24 movie screens. Now, I just need to know how much that's going to be. So I take my original function and I plug in 24. So we get 24 equals negative x squared plus, and that's going to be 24. Let's go back a little bit here. That's going to be 24 squared plus 24 times 48 minus 512. So if we plug this into a calculator, we're going to get 24 times 24, it's 576, negative 576, plus 24 times 48, which is 1,152 minus 512. And that is going to equal something. Let's see, 1 minus 512 minus 576. Whoa, that's a big number. I did something wrong there. Something's going on with my calculator here. See if I can actually get this number. And that equals 64. So the maximum profit occurs at 24 movies and $64,000. All right, guys. So again, all we're going back through here, guys, is we are doing what we did before we left. We're finding our x-intercepts using our quadratic formula, if you'd like, and then you are determining your maximum profit, which is the number of screens for maximum profit, and that occurs at 24 screens. So there you guys go, and have a good one. We'll see you soon.